Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone had a great weekend. It's Monday, December 19th. Going to jump into the before market close video and take requests. If anybody does have any requests, please let me know. But we'll go through the market update. Obviously, Hexos was the big talk of the town today. So Hexos reverse split took effect today, and stock continues to get destroyed. But we're still at 129 here, USD, and the RSI is in the low teens, so I wouldn't expect much more downside from here. Like I said, I would add at around $1.25, and then again at $1, I'd defend $1 support very, very strongly. And then today we hit 128, so I might hold off. Does look like we could close near the low of the day, but we are due for a massive bounce at some point here soon. If we look at the hourly chart, let's reset this chart here. So opened the day at 175. And from the high of the day to the low, we're down at about another 30%. So if we take a look at the hourly chart, it's all skewed at the moment because of the whole reverse split. But we'll take a look at that in a moment. We'll do an update on the crypto space, broader market, and then we'll jump into Hexo. So at the moment, 15-minute bounces are underway in crypto, but still no 15-minute trend changes yet. So we're looking for that higher low and higher high. Ethereum close to doing so with the low, high, higher low, looking for that higher high now. Bitcoin is a daily bear flag. That's potentially confirming. Anything on this daily bounce, anything under 17,227 was a potential daily bear flag. So we're right now double bottoming pretty much to the penny. 16,529, 16,518. So we did confirm it. Actually, we did lose support. So we did confirm the daily bear flag, but we're not seeing much follow through. But at the moment, it is acting as a double bottom. So if we lose that support there at 16,518, then we would be targeting about 15,534 on Bitcoin. And we got that EMA 12 and 26 bear cross that occurred as well, likely implying more downside. But if we zoom out to the weekly time frame, we are starting weekly consolidation for the second week in a row. And at this point, we're just looking for a higher low on the weekly, and then we'll look for the higher high. So if we can hold support there at 15,460, form a higher low, and then come back up toward resistance, and we break above 18,385, we'd be in a weekly uptrend. But at the moment, it does look like we are favoring another leg down. So we're still in a weekly downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. And then if we zoom out to the monthly, and SPY's in weekly uptrends, right? So the S&P 500 is way stronger than crypto at the moment, specifically Bitcoin, and that has to do a lot with obviously FTX, right? The implosion of FTX, decoupling from the broader market. Not sure what's going on here if my internet's, there we go. Maybe let me know if I'm coming through nice and clear. It might just be TradingView that's slow. But yeah, we're still very bearish, but we did get the monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross out of the way on Bitcoin, and we're not too far away now from monthly oversold. So if we did get to monthly oversold, that'd probably put us around that 13K to 10K area, which is the head and shoulders target as well, which lines up with the 0.618 there at 13,224. And we had huge sell volume. We still got 12 days left in this monthly candle, so we could even potentially match last month's volume. There's a lot of speculation right now that Binance might be even more opaque, their reserves and their whole under the hood balance sheet, right? Their liabilities, that's something that we haven't really found much info on. And like I said, a lot of people saying that it's even more opaque than the FTX debacle. So just be prepared for anything at this point. Get your crypto off exchanges. I've taken all of mine off Binance. I'm literally holding 100% of my crypto on my Ledger hardware wallet. So not taking any chances. And I don't care about the downfall that we see. I'll just continue to dollar cost average. It's like MJ. I don't need that money. I'm just going to continue to dollar cost average into projects that I think have long-term staying power and utility. And I'm just going to let it sit on my ledger until I'm financially enticed to sell, right? So it's not super complicated the way I, approach things. It's just a simple buy and hold, dollar cost average. Buy into, assets that are extremely oversold that haven't seen, massive 20x, 50x, even 100x runs. Like I have no interest in Doge, right? Something that's could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. But if we take a look at March 2020, right, we were at, where's March? March 2020, we were at a tenth of a penny. And then we ran all the way up to 73 cents, right? 74 cents right before that Saturday Night Live skit. So that's like 600x, right? $1,000 investment a couple years later into $600,000, right? So even from those levels, from March 2020 lows to current levels, we're still up 62x, right? Which would be $1,000 into $62,000. So I have no interest in that. I'm going to focus on projects that have yet to eclipse their all-time highs, that have yet to see those massive moves, and has, you know, long-term staying power and utility. So on the bull and bear list today, we had HNT. This must be halted because it hasn't done anything. It's been sitting at 165 for a while. HNT, I know they were looking at switching different blockchains, going to Solana, I think. If we go to Binance USD, yeah, it's still the same. So there must be something going on with HNT. But I did sell all my HNT, and I was bullish on it, but not 100% convinced. You know, it's basically like decentralized networks. So decentralized like Filecoin's decentralized storage, right? So you got decentralized networks, essentially is what it is, right? Like Wi-Fi networks, cell reception, things like that. But it's just, they're going to have a hard time, right? Because they're going to be competing with the big tech conglomerates. So it's not 100% sold on that one. I did have a small bag, but I sold it. There was a lot of just speculation going on about HNT. And at this point, with FTX, Celsius, Voyager, all of these companies going belly up, I'm just going to stick in the blue chips that I know that are going to be here in 10 to 20 years, right? Like the XRPs, the XLMs, the Algos, Litecoin. So DMGI, HP, and Doge leading the decline today. We've got XDC, NDA, and Cell leading the bull list. So as I mentioned, SPY is still in a weekly uptrend, while Bitcoin is in a monthly and weekly and daily downtrend. So if we take a look at SPY is still just in a, actually, did we double top there? No, we broke to a higher high. So yeah, we didn't form a lower high and lower low. So no weekly downtrend confirmed. We're just looking for a higher low compared to the low here at 367.10. So again, when we haven't consolidated in over a month on the weekly time frame, you need to expect a pretty sizable pullback, right? Especially when we had no support all the way down to what, 367, 367.10. So we went all the way up to 408 and we had no weekly support to 367. So that means we could drop over 10% and still be in a weekly uptrend. And then so far we've dropped 7%. So in theory, we could still drop another 3%, right? And still be in a weekly uptrend. And that uptrend is indicative by the higher lows and higher highs, right? And then a downtrend would be lower highs and lower lows. So at the moment, no major red flags, just looking for that weekly higher low, and we'll know that that has been established once we change the daily trend back to the bulls. So once we confirm a daily uptrend, we'll be confident that the weekly lows are in. And we already saw the EMA 12 and 26 bear cross here on the daily, which I was pointing out last week. That means we could potentially see even more weekly consolidation into this week, which is what we got. And then on the weekly time frame, we could even see a bull cross actually. So once we change the daily trend back to the bulls, we confirm a daily uptrend, the weekly higher low will be set, and then we'll look for a move back up towards resistance and a potential bull cross of those EMAs. But again, we need the daily uptrend to be confirmed. So we need to start the bounce. We need to break the high of the previous daily candle. We need to come down for a higher low and then a higher high. Once we get that uptrend confirmed, then we'll be confident that our weekly lows are in. And we just paid a dividend as well. So a little bit skewed in the numbers. So if you want more accurate representation, you want to chart SPX. But same deal. Actually, that one basically a double top there. Did break to a higher high, but not enough of a lower high to consider that a weekly downtrend. So bulls are in full control of the weekly time frame still, but on the monthly, we're still in a monthly downtrend. Anything under 428, or if you use SPX, it would be 429. Yep, 429. Or sorry, 432 here. Yeah, because there's been multiple dividends paid over the last couple of months. But it is a potential for a inverse head and shoulders here as well. So we'll see if we can form this reversal off of this bottom. But again, looking at that .com fractal, it said we could top out realistically any day, and here we are starting a pretty big pullback here on the monthly time frame. We still haven't lost the low of the previous monthly candle, so 367.10 is key. That's also the weekly uptrend, right? So if you lose the weekly uptrend, that means zoom out to the higher time frame, the monthly, and then we're likely consolidating, meaning we're losing the low of the previous monthly candle. Same thing with the daily uptrend. If we lose the daily uptrend, that means zoom out to the weekly, the next time frame higher, and then we're likely losing the low of the previous weekly candle, right? So the more you start to see that, the more it makes sense. But again, Bitcoin has been leading and giving us a clue, and we've already seen that EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the monthly time frame. Tesla very close to seeing its bear cross on the monthly, and SPY very close to seeing its as well. So this could potentially give us that monthly consolidation that we're looking for, and we could come down to around 360 for a possible right shoulder. And then if we were to confirm this head and shoulders, just a rough target, that would put us up to new all-time high territory. That'd put us around 482 if that confirms. But in order to negate it, we need to lose the low here at 346.52. But we haven't even started monthly consolidation yet to form the right shoulder. So it's all about 367.10. That's the most important support on SPY. If we lose 367.10, it's all about 346.52 because that would give us another lower low in the monthly downtrend continuation. And you better watch out below for individual stocks, right? That wouldn't be good whatsoever. So, like I said, not a bad idea to have that hedge position, shorting the S&P 500, keeping cash on the side. Nowhere near monthly oversold. And like I said, following that .com fractal, potentially into potentially into the spring, we could get quite ugly. And then we'd be due for a massive rally into, the fall, potentially. And then into the beginning part of 2024, it's saying that that's where we could potentially scout a long-term bottom being set in that bear market fractal. And could potentially realistically go all the way as low as 230, maybe even 200, right? And then that would put us around that monthly oversold, just like we did in the .com days. 4 years from the RSI peaking to the price peaking. It was 4 years in between. Same thing here. RSI peaked in 2018. Then the price peaked 4 years later in 2022. And then we went into the bear market and ultimately went to oversold. How long did it take us to get to oversold? It took us about 1,000 days, right? So if we take a look from the top to the low here, 1,000 days would put us around summer of 2024, right? So that'd be like a couple year bear market. There's even a lot of speculation that this could be the lost decade, right? We may never see all-time highs again for over 10 years, which is very possible. Just one sec, I got someone calling me. All right, sorry about that. All right, moving on. So we'll take a look at the dollar here real quick. So the dollar on the weekly time frame, it's a weekly inside bar, but we could still see that EMA 12 and 26 bear cross as well. So the opposite of SPY. SPY could potentially see a bull cross of those EMAs, and the dollar is potentially seeing a bear cross and then heading to weekly oversold. So that does give us a little bit of hope in the short term for stocks and equities, right? For asset bulls, because we could potentially see another lower low, and we don't really have any support now on the weekly time frame until 101.84, which would probably put us around weekly oversold, maybe a flush of 100, and then we would be at that weekly oversold, and then we could likely anticipate a pretty big bounce on the dollar. Tesla dropping to another daily lower low. So I said that I had a target of about $85. I don't think it's going to get there straight away, but I've seen crazier things happen. But if we take a look at the monthly time frame, it is a monthly head and shoulders, and the 0.786 there at 98.99. So I think 100 is very, very much baked in at this point. We have no monthly support all the way down at $23. And it's looking very similar to Bitcoin, and we could still see that EMA 12 and 26 bear cross and look at it starting to really curl in a hurry here. So this thing could get ugly. We could be heading to monthly oversold. If we were to get to monthly oversold, that would probably put us around that 85 dollar area, right, for monthly oversold. Tons of people on my video saying, oh, that'll never happen, right? Screw your target, screw the charts. And they're like, there's a lot of support at 140. I can't see it going below 140. And then like a week later, we're at 145, right? So that's how quickly we dropped. Right? In just a week, we're down 15%, right? On everybody's favorite tech stock. CLOV, DDD, and SPCE leading the decline today on the bull list. We have IMV, WNW, and VEGA. Apple also looking extremely bearish. We had a Powbot algo sell alert go off on Apple as well. And Apple's just a little bit lagging, right? Compared to Netflix, compared to some of our other names. Amazon's already saw its EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the monthly, right? So the more names that do that, the more confident we are that the rest of the sector. Google's just seeing its bear cross now. And then Apple yet to see its. Tesla's very close to seeing its monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. But yeah, Apple's been holding on a lot stronger than most, right? If we take a look from the all-time high to where we are now, we're only down not even 30%. Then you take a look at a name like Netflix. Its bear cross happened on the monthly way back in April. So very massive clue that we could potentially see that spill over into the rest of the sector. But here we are down 76%, right? Even Amazon from the all-time high down 55%. And what did I tell everybody? This stock split, this 20 for 1, was a classic example. They did the same thing in the .com days. They did splits right before the peak, and then everybody and their dog was like, "Oh, I can finally buy Amazon now because it's cheap," right? Not realizing that nothing has changed, and that's probably the worst idea you could ever do. And then sure enough, here they did the split 20 for 1, and now we're just getting absolutely destroyed, right? And then there was a massive relief rally all the way up to 146. Here we are down 42% in a few months, right? But Amazon does have support there at 81.30, and then after that, 65.35. And it's very close to monthly oversold. That's how quickly things can change, right? And we had that hidden RSI bearish divergence where we were trending with lower highs and lower lows, and we were trending higher lows and higher highs on the price action, right? So we had that inverse divergence. We had that divergence on the monthly time frame on the RSI. So look for Tesla to get absolutely schmammered, in my opinion. Taking a look at Canadian MJ, so we've got PSDN, PCLO, and NOVC leading the decline today on the bullish. We've got Hexo up 967% today. Just kidding. Obviously, reverse split, skewing the numbers. PWR and WIB. So Hexo, we'll want to wait. Obviously, the hourly time frame, the numbers here, they're all skewed. So over the next couple of days, things will start to kind of wind down and just settle down. But at the moment, to be expected. I mean, SPY is weak today, continuing weekly consolidation. And Hexo's continuing weekly consolidation, right? So it's just bad timing. We had the reverse split. We had the earnings miss. We had the whole sector get just absolutely rocked around again from safe banking hopes to nothing at all. We had rescheduling, which really didn't amount to anything. And the elections didn't really do anything either. But we'll see. Just when everybody least expects it, that's generally when we get the moves, right? And then you look at CGC, right? CGCs gave back that whole move now. So we had the low of the pullback there at 213. We went as high as 477. So on CGC, we were up 125%, and here we are back down near the lows, only 12% away. So it's not just Hexo, it's not just MJ in Canada, it's all MJ, similar to altcoins right now, right? I'm just going to continue to buy into it. MJ isn't going anywhere. Pick the companies that you think are going to have long-term staying power, diversify, have some U.S. operators, have some Canadian operators, have some retailers, get some ETFs, and keep some cash on the side. Like I said, I've been hedging. This is why I own more crypto than I do MJ, is because MJ has been in a prolonged bear market, whereas crypto is just starting its bear market, right? And we could even see one more potential alt season, in my opinion, in crypto. And if we don't, I'm prepared for that too. Like I said, I've got a 6-figure cash position. I've been hedging with an SPXS position, so a short on SPY. And I'm okay, right? All we need Hexo to do now is maintain $1 for 10 consecutive business days, so trading days. So at the end of close, if we're over $1 today, and then we do that 9 more times when the markets, during trading days, then we'll be in compliance. We'll regain compliance with the NASDAQ minimum bid rule. I really don't think we're going to delist. But you just got to think, we have absolutely no monthly resistance all the way up to $154. That's crazy to see. And then the all-time high there at 470, right? And it's funny because remember that Motley Fool article in January of 2021 when they said Hexo is probably going to be the first stock to $100? And then they even made the case in that Motley Fool article of how it could go to $400. Well, now the all-time high is $470. So maybe they saw this coming, because $400 stock could put us back to all-time highs. But that's 375x from current levels, right? So even if you invested another, let's say you don't have any money to invest right now, right? And okay, let's say you save over the next few weeks, right? And I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, or buy Hexo. Maybe you need to buy another MJ stock, or maybe you have too much MJ already and you need to diversify. Maybe you need to buy a hedge position on SPY, right, to protect that against that downside and headwinds. But just as an example, if you try to accumulate even say another $1,000 worth of Hexo at these prices, and Hexo doesn't, go bankrupt. Hexo is, around in 2, 3, 5 years. And if this thing goes back to all-time high, that's about a 370x, right? So that's $1,000 into $370,000 if we go back to all-time highs. That's pretty good risk to reward. Obviously, we wish we all would have sold a long time ago, but I mean, it's par for the course, right? Oxley hit a low of 1.5 cents. So even Oxley, from its low to the all-time highs, that's 200x, right? $1,000 into $200,000. But Oxley could very well go through creditor protection as well, or they could get acquired for pennies on the dollar, destroy shareholder value even more. That's possible. At the end of the day, look at MSOS, just getting absolutely destroyed today. So down 16%. It didn't have a 14-for-1 reverse split. It didn't have an earnings miss, right? And it's down just in one day. It's down almost 17%. Right? So at the end of the day, we can blame a company, we can blame the management, we can blame whatever it is, but what's the excuses for the U.S. companies? Why is TrueLeave down 15% today? What excuses are investors making for TrueLeave? Right? At the end of the day, we hit the buy and sell button. You're investing in the riskiest asset class in the planet next to crypto, and Netflix dropped almost 80% in a few months, right? It's not just MJ. And if you're down 80%, 90%, 99%, who cares, right? If you put, and again, you don't need to put $100,000 into MJ or crypto to be successful, right? If you put $100,000, let's say, into MJ or crypto, right? And you lose 80% of it, right? You're down to $20,000, right? You lose 90%, you're down to $10,000. So that's still, you might as well, it's not really that much worse, right? People's emotions are still going to be as high, right? No pun intended. But they're still gonna hate whatever investment it is. They're gonna say, this is the worst investment ever. I put $100,000 in, now it's worth $20,000, down to 80%. Well, Netflix did that in a couple of months, right? Dropped 80%. And then if it's 90%, right? All MJ, the US MJ is down around 70 to 80% from February 2021 highs. And then Canadian MJ is down 80 to 90% plus. Right? So even if you're down 99%, that's $100,000 into $1,000, right? So even if you were down 90%, $100,000 into $10,000, who really cares if you lost 100,000 down to 10,000 or 100,000 down to 1,000? It's still really, really bad, right? So again, what's the excuse for TrueLeave? What's the excuse for all of these, strong fundamental financial companies in the US, right? It's called manipulation. This is what they do. They get extended to the upside. The market makers suck every dollar possible out of the market, and then they short it, right? And then they sell, and then they pawn it off onto retail, right? On the bull and bear list, we have AYR, CCH, and TRSSF. On the bull list, we have SHWZ, BEV, and BAM. Yeah, PSDN. So MSOS, new all-time low. Getting absolutely destroyed. Might look at adding some of this as well. But again, very close, bearish close today. Closing near the low of the day today. 3 minutes left. I'll probably hold, well, I'm not going to be, I won't have a time to put through any orders today, but I'll be definitely looking to add to my positions. And keep in mind, we've got only a couple of weeks left in the year, and then we're going to have our TFSAs for those in Canada. We'll have another, I think, $6,500 that we can put into our TFSAs. So a great idea. In my opinion, again, not financial advice, but that's what I'll be doing is looking to max out my TFSA again into MJ stocks. while we're down this low. And keep in mind, it's tax loss harvesting as well. So we could realistically see a little bit more downside over the next couple of weeks. So like I said, Hexo, I'm going to add again. I was planning to add around 125 USD, and then I was going to add really heavy at $1 just to defend that support. But I'm going to hold off before adding. We get to 128 on USD side, but I'm going to hold off. Might look at adding some more tomorrow, just a tiny bit, maybe 2,500 shares or something like that. And then I'll probably add like 10,000 shares around $1, maybe a little more. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you. Just taking a look at the community here. See if there's any news that just came up. No safe in omnibus, Sean says. Senate staffer tells Marijuana Moment that cannabis banking language is not included in the omnibus appropriations bill despite a final push by Senate Majority Chuck Schumer and other supporters from both parties. Boo. Yeah, so again, just more buying opportunities, right? We can get down in the dumps, but this is just opportunities to load the bag even more, right? Get that dollar cost average. Like I said, if you put, let's say you're down $50,000 on Hexo, or let's say you're down $50,000 on CGC, or let's say you're down 20,000 or 30,000 or 50,000 on Tilray. If Tilray goes back to its all-time highs, and it's here in 5 to 10 years, that's $100,000 you're going to make off a $1,000 investment. So if you're down $50,000 on Tilray, you invested $100,000, and again, if you invest $100,000 into Tilray, or if you're down like $50,000, $60,000 on a bunch of different MJ names, you probably went too heavy, right? Like you don't need to, like I showed you, if you put $1,000 into Dogecoin in March 2020, you'd be almost a millionaire a couple years later. You don't need to invest 6 or 7 figures to be wealthy in the most riskiest asset classes in the planet, right? I just would never do that. I would never put more than, like the most I'd ever put into one MJ stock or one crypto would be like $50,000, and even then it's a bit of a stretch. But yeah. So let's say you put $100,000 into Tilray, you're down 50%, let's say, and you're down $50,000, okay? Or let's say you put $50,000 and you're down $25,000, or maybe you're down $40,000 or something like that, right? Well, it's very discouraging, yes. It's going to take a while to make that up. But if you put $1,000 into Tilray today, like fresh new capital, right, and we go back to all-time highs, that's $100,000 off a $1,000 investment, right? So that $50,000 loss that you have right now, you have the opportunity to buy near all-time lows. And if we go back up to all-time highs, you're not going to be too concerned about that $50,000 loss at that point, right? And then if you didn't sell that position, you'd recoup your losses and then some, and then that new $1,000 turns into $100,000, right? Now you're well on your way to millionaire status. So this is how you maximize it, right? But Hexo, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a bounce here soon, because we're just getting absolutely destroyed on the daily time frame. We're almost into the single digits here on the daily time frame. Just 1 second here. So yeah, as I was saying, on the daily time frame, we have no daily resistance really essentially all the way up for 100%, right? So when this thing bounces, it's going to fly. And then same on the weekly time frame, we have no really weekly resistance for 115%. And then like I said, on the monthly, we have a little bit of a level there at 384, but not much. Like realistically, we have no resistance for about 100x on the monthly time frame. So again, risk to rewards there, and all we need to do is 9 more trading days over $1, and we'll be back in the minimum bid rule compliance, regain compliance with that minimum bid rule on the NASDAQ. But like I said, I would add at 125. We got to 127. Market's closed now, but we closed near the low of the day. So if SPY continues to see weekly consolidation, which it very well could, because we need to see the daily uptrend confirm before we're confident that the weekly lows are in. And right now, we're just seeing that EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and we haven't even started the daily bounce yet. So we're a long ways away. We're at least a week away from confirming a daily uptrend, which means we could see more downside on the S&P 500, which means Hexo may actually get close to $1 again. And like I said, I'll be defending that support heavily around $1. But I might look at adding Hexo again tomorrow. Like I said, around that 125. We'll see. It might even go a little bit lower than that tomorrow. And then we'll look at $1 after that. Sorry, I got phone's just blowing up here at the moment. So yeah, that's my plan. Sticking to it. Like I said, they're expecting positive adjusted EBITDA very, very soon. Could be in the next 1 to 2 quarters. And then they said cash flow positive in the next 4 quarters, which was back at the closure of the Tilray deal, right? Just gotta let somebody into the building. 1 sec. All right, that's pretty much all I had, though. So yeah, don't be surprised if we do see a little bit more downside into tomorrow. SPY closed at 379 today. And like I said, still nowhere near confirming a daily uptrend. Could be heading to daily oversold too. All right, going to end it there. Have a great night. We'll see everybody in the chat room in a few minutes. Talk to you soon.